Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Perfect. Thank you so much. We've just got about 190 people who've joined, so we're waiting for more people to join. So we'll give it another 5 minutes and then we shall start. should start now. It's 11:05 according to my watch in India. So people are yet to join, but we will start the session nevertheless. There's a raised hand. I just wanted to ask uh, Izatul and Faisal Khan Sherwani. The two of you have raised your hands. Is there anything that you want to ask me? Can you just put it in the chat box? Geeta, can you still not hear me? Uh, Faradia, if you cannot see or hear anything, please restart your log out of the session and log back. Perfect. Thank you so much. And let's just start the session before it gets too late. So, good morning, everyone. My name is Sumita, and I look after training for South Asia and Southeast Asia. And today we'll be talking about citations. When all of you are doing your research, when you're doing your projects, you all need to cite. And many of you are not aware of the rules of citation, the different kinds of citations available, and what they follow. So let's just get started. If you have any questions, please raise them in the chat box. The session will last for about 1 hour 40 minutes. In between, I will give you a 10-minute break. You can go grab a cup of tea, go grab some water, bio break, whatever. And at the end of the session, all of you will receive your certificates and your thank you for attending the session. That email will come tomorrow directly from GoToWebinar. But I will send you an email by the end of the day. And by the end of the day, as in my end of the day, not Malaysia end of the day. So don't send me reminders. You will get it. I will send you a link to the recording of today's session. I will also send you a link to SurveyMonkey where there will be a questionnaire. Excuse me. If you score 70% and above, you will be entitled to a certificate of completion. And I'll send you a little more information in and around the session with it. So is that all sorted? I see there are questions in the chat box. There is echo. Is everyone able to see echo, able to hear an echo? Afsal, then I think you should log out and log back into the session. Anyone who has problems with the connection, because everybody else is fine. So if you have problems, please log out and log back into the session. Because there's a problem with your connection then. If you keep yourselves on mute, you will not hear any static on the call. Of course, I think all of you are on mute. Okay, let's just get started. I still see people raising their hands. If you score 70%, only then you are eligible for the certificate of completion. Otherwise, you will just get a certificate of attendance. Okay, so here we are. What are we going to cover today? We will cover, I will give you an introduction to Oxford University Press and our platform, Oxford Scholarship Online, which is a collection of ebooks, which is a collection of textbooks, monographic content. I will tell you what a citation is, what you need to do with a citation, why is it that you need to cite, the different kinds of citation styles that Oxford University Press supports, and we will talk about citation management tools. This is the University of Oxford, headquartered in Oxford, United Kingdom. Oxford University Press is a department of the University of Oxford. Now, to introduce the University of Oxford, I must say that it is the oldest and largest university in the English-speaking world. And our primary goal is education. We have about 43 online products. We've got music, we've got art, we've got ebooks, we've got encyclopedias, we've got reference, we've got medicine, law, you name it, we have it. We pretty much cover almost every subject area, barring engineering and information technology. So a little more, we were founded in 1478. Like I've already said, it's the oldest and largest university in the English-speaking world. We have a presence in about 51 countries, which means whichever part of the globe you go, you will find an OUP presence there. We publish approximately 7,000 new books and 370 journals in a year. These are some of our coveted products, our journals, Oxford Scholarship Online, the platform that we will be talking about today, and University Press Scholarship Online. We'll be talking about both of these. And then we shall, I'll just give you an idea of what are the different products that we have. So we have Oxford Medicine Online, which is primarily for people who are researching in medicine or studying medicine, any field of medicine, irrespective of which field of medicine you are in. Then we have Oxford Bibliographies, and we have Oxford Reference Online and Oxford Handbooks Online. So let me just give you a look at our Oxford Scholarship Online platform. So this is the Oxford Scholarship Online platform, and the URL to access it is oxford.universitypressscholarship.com. If you see, I have signed in with the Oxford credentials, so it's showing Oxford University Press. Otherwise, you will get an option to sign in. If you sign in from your library network and your library has a subscription to this, it will automatically take you to the platform. Otherwise, you will only have access to the abstract and to the open access and free content available. Now, what is Oxford Scholarship Online? It's a collection of academic works, pure monographic content. And we cover subjects like humanities, social sciences, medicine, and law. This is Oxford Scholarship in numbers. We have about 19,000 plus books, 27 subject modules. Oxford Scholarship Online covers 27 subject modules. Then we have 370 subdisciplines written by 19,000 authors, located in 90 plus countries and updated 12 times a year, which means every month there is something new added to this platform. There is a featured book of the month at the center of the page, and on the right-hand side, you will see the complete title list. If you click on the hyperlink, it will give you an Excel spreadsheet of all the titles that are available on this platform. And you can filter by subject or by author or however you want to look for it. Or you could do a Control F and just look for the book that you want to read. Then you have the newsfeed column. whatever is, like you see in the month of June, 19 new books have been published. If you want to subscribe to the RSS feed, just click on this and sign in, and you will receive all these updates in your mailbox. So every time you need to find out what's happening on this platform, just click on the news column. So it will tell you how many new books have been added. You can also look at the news tab from here. It's at the top of the page. If you wish to find out a little more about us, just click on the About Us tab. And here is where you will get all the information that you need. There's a little video on how it works. So at your free time, you can take a look at this. If you forget what I'm training you on today, there is a Take a Tour tab at the top, which gives you a PowerPoint as well as a PDF and a video. To go back to the home page, just simply click on this and it will bring you back to the home page. So if you look here, there are 27 subject modules available under Oxford Scholarship Online. You can either browse through choosing which subject you want to search about, or you could do a quick search. Before you do a quick search, let me just quickly run you through this. Do you see there is all partner presses and Oxford Scholarship Online? There are two radio buttons, and all partner presses is selected by default. Now, when we saw the success of this platform, we decided to partner with other university presses. And that's how Oxford Press Scholarship Online was formed. What does Oxford Press Scholarship Online do? It gives you access to material, books from other partner presses. First, let's take a look at our partner presses. So you see, we partner with some of the most well-known university presses across the globe. Partner with 24 leading scholarly presses. We have the University of California, you have Cornell University Press, Edinburgh, you have Liverpool, Princeton, Stanford, etc. If you click on Oxford Press Scholarship Online, it takes you to the page of the University Press Scholarship Online. And here is where you also get to see the different universities. While Oxford University Press covers 27 subject areas, University Press Scholarship Online covers 33 subject modules. And again, if you wish to browse and find out, just take a look at all of this and search. I'm going back to Oxford Scholarship Online. Whenever you are on this platform, it will automatically have all partner presses selected. If you want to change to only Oxford University Press, you can do that by just selecting this, but let's leave it at this. Now let's say we are searching for something like poverty. When you come to poverty, it shows you that you have 1,013 books on poverty. I am sure none of you have the time to read all these books. Your first way of doing a filter would be to look at recent to old. Why we do recent to old is because You'll get the latest editions of these books. Your next would be to always choose unlocked so that you have access to those books. However, in my case, I can't do that because I'm logged in with the university credentials and I have access to everything. But this is what, and if you don't have a subscription, you can look at free and open access content. A red padlock would mean that you don't have a subscription. Your subscription doesn't buy this book. Then you can filter by the different university presses that you're interested in. If you think you'd like to look at New York University Press, there are 28 books from New York University Press. You can. Generally, at least it makes it easier for you. Now, you could do that, or you could ignore that. And you could move on to, you're looking at poverty from what point of view? Let's say you're looking at poverty from the point of view of social work, and you're interested in children and families. So I'm waiting for those 19 books to load. Okay, now let's read the first book. Let's open the first book. Now, when you look here, you get the book and you get the abstract of the book. The abstract is a summary of the book. You also get the keywords. It gives you the bibliographic information. It gives you the print publication date and the online publication date. And it also gives you the DOI number. What is the DOI number? The DOI is a permanent static reference number. It is called the digital object identifier. Now, why is it so important? Let's say, for example, 20 years later, you have a sibling in the family who's going to do a little project on coronavirus. When coronavirus has become history. And you're going to be doing this, and you turn around, there's so much research happening around coronavirus. It is impossible for someone to read all the research, everything that has been published. But you, as a professor, as a researcher, or as a parent, if you have the DOI number of the article that you wish to share with the child, you can always share this. It's a permanent reference number, it will never change. Excuse me. It's of great use to the lecturers, to the students, as well as to the librarians. When you browse down, you have the book here. You can open the book. They're all hyperlinked. Just click on the book. And this is how the book opens, the chapter opens. You can view it as a PDF and save it on your desktop so that you can read it when you're offline. You can browse to the next chapter by using the gray bar at the top, or you could browse using the filters on the left-hand side. You can download this entire book but you will have to do it chapter wise. So you'll have to click on each chapter, view PDF, and save it. Now, if the lecturer in class comes and tells you go to page 66, page 66 on this corresponds to page 66 in the hard copy. So whatever is there in the hard copy, it gives you here. So this is how you could browse. Some problem with my mouse. It's just not working. It seems to be dancing. Now, if you look at the top here, so I've explained how you can download this book, and of course, I've told you that you have to download it chapter wise. Now, most importantly, when you open a book, you will find these two radio buttons. When you click on Find in Library, in my case, it takes me to the Oxford Library. It tells me where it is. So, I have to order it from the press, a reprints desk. So it takes me, but it will tell you whether it is there in your library or not. The second thing is you can choose WorldCat. What is WorldCat? WorldCat is a huge initiative taken by libraries. What does it do? It reads the closest library that has a copy of this, has a hard copy of this book. So the closest that I can see here is in Dubai. These are I've typed India here. Let's type Malaysia and see. See if Malaysia has it. Okay, so closest that we have is NTU in Singapore and University of Macau in China. So you see, this is the closest library that has this book, has a print copy of this book. Going back to the home page, and then there is Google Preview. What's Google Preview? It just tells you about this book. You can look at the book, and if you still think you're interested, you can always buy this book. So these are the three tabs that you will see, and now let's move on to this. There is the print option here. You can print this page, this chapter. You can save it. And then you have the Cite button, which is our topic for today. When you come to Cite, you see these are the four different options that we get: APA, MLA, Chicago, AME. Let's say I choose MLA and I download it. It gets downloaded in the MLA format. So just to show you what it looks like. And then how you want to export it, using which format, all this we will be discussing in the session. So let's go back to our PowerPoint. I've introduced you to the platform and I've discussed all of this with you. I've done all this, so I'm not repeating this. Now, what are the four different citation styles used by Oxford University Press? You have MLA, which is mostly used in literature, arts, and the humanities. You have APA, which is mostly used in psychology and education and other social sciences. You have Chicago, which is mostly used in notes and bibliographies and history. And you have AMA, which is mostly used in health sciences, including medicine and public health. Now, which style that you will use is something that your professor will tell you. So you have to check with your professor which citation style you need to use, which is accepted. You can't be rigid about this, saying that no, I can't use an AMA because it's only for medicine. It'll depend on how your professors want you to proceed. So let's start with the basics now. What is a citation? A citation is actually, a way where you are giving credit to the person whose work you are copying from. Otherwise, it's known as stealing. When you cite, you are telling the readers that this is taken from here. When you copy on Facebook, when you copy a story, a forward, don't you write hashtag WhatsApp forward? Or don't you write, if you're writing a quotation by Shakespeare or P.G. Wodehouse, don't you do that? So that is exactly what you need to do. A citation is how you tell your readers that this material has come from a different source. It also gives your readers the information necessary to find that source again, including what all information can it get? It will get information about the author, because the author's name will be hyperlinked, the title of the work, the name of the book that you've taken it from, the name and location of the company that published your copy of the source. It could be Oxford University Press, it could be Macmillan, it could be Stanford University Press, anything. The page number, the date your copy was published. You saw it, you get the bibliographic information. The page numbers of the material that you are borrowing. And journal citations give you a little more. They'll give you, which volume of the journal, what is the issue number, and the specific page references. Now, why do you need to cite? If you don't cite, you will lose credibility as a researcher, because that's called copying, cheating. To avoid plagiarism, you need to cite. You need to establish credibility as an author. So when you are citing, people will know that this is somebody else's thought and this is your thought. This is what you are saying. So you can say, quoting the words of Zimmerman, this. However, my personal take or my research, though it started from there, this is what I have found out. So people can distinguish, readers will be able to differentiate between what is your idea and what is your source, from where you've got this idea from. Especially during peer review, it will really help. It helps you to emphasize the originality of your own work. It gives readers a way to follow up and find more information on a topic. Now, I received forward which said that the pandemic was planned in 2008-9. And there was a lot of reading to it. There were a lot of external links to it. And just out of curiosity, I kept on reading. It took me so, and then finally I got so confused that I said, God, this is too scary. It took me to a place where they said, if you take the vaccine, Bill Gates is actually putting a chip in your body, which which will track where you are. Now, I'm sure Bill Gates has better things to do than to track what ordinary people like you and I do. That's my personal opinion. But this is just a way, you can read forward. This is just an example. And it points your readers to a source. So if they want to do more further studying, they will know what are the sources they can use to do further study on that given topic. When do you cite? Whenever you borrow words or ideas, you need to acknowledge their source. The following situations always require a citation. When you're using a quote, when you're saying what somebody else said, whenever you are paraphrasing, you might not be using the same words, but you just might change the idea. But you're paraphrasing, and you need to give quote. You need to mention the source where you got it from, because if you don't give the information, it will again be called as plagiarism. Whenever you use an idea that someone else has already expressed, whenever you make specific reference to the work of another, and whenever someone else's work has been critical in developing your own ideas. Now we'll move on to the first one. The first one is MLA. Now, they've been constantly upgrading themselves, and right now they're running in their 8th edition, and it was developed by the Modern Language Association. And it is especially popular in language and literary studies. Now, it uses parenthetical. Parenthetical means in brackets, containing the author and page number. So, they have 9 core elements. Now, you don't need to mug this up. This is something that you just need to know. Don't pay too much, don't go too deeply into it, because this is just good to know information, not need to know. Remember, there are 2 kinds of information. One is that you must know, and one is that, okay, I know it, it's good for my knowledge. That's it. So, that is what we are doing now. This has 9 core elements. It has the author, the title of the source, title of the container, other contributors, version, number, publisher, publication date, location. So this is the name of the author. Now remember, the name of the author will always be like this: the last name first, comma, and the first name. So it is Sumita Sen, my name. It will become Sen, comma, Sumita. Which is the name of the book? Placebo Effects. This is the name of the chapter, Understanding the Mechanisms in Health and Disease. What is the title of the, see, so we've got the title of the source. This is the container, that is Oxford University Press. We don't have any other contributors here, so the space is blank. Which version is this? Published in September 1, 2009. Who's the publisher? Oxford University Press. See, it gives you all the information. And the location, Oxford Scholarship Online. And it also gives you the date accessed. So these are the 9 core elements. Just take a look at it. You don't need to know it by heart. You have the author, title, container, other contributors, version, number, publisher, publication date, and location. How do the names of the authors come? If there is only one author, the last name first with a comma and then the first name, and followed by a full stop. If there are 2 authors, the name would be last name, comma, first name, comma, and the name of the second author with the first name first. If there are 3 authors, you don't need to write anything, just write the first author and et al. Now remember, this is not something you will do. There is a software that does it for you. This is just for you to know. Title should always have the full title of the source. Capitalize all the words apart from conjunctions, prepositions, and articles. Conjunctions are words that join 2 thought groups. The boy ran on the road and fell down. So the boy ran on the road is one thought group, and fell down is another thought group. So it's joined by a conjunction, which is and. So conjunctions will never be in capitals. Prepositions to, on, upon, or, all these are prepositions. And then you have articles a and the. Just go back. Just look at this. Understanding this has not come out correctly. But anyway, this is a software that does it. If there is no title, give a short description of the source with normal sentence case capitalization. The styling of the title depends on the source. Italics when the source is self-contained, that is the name of the whole book or the website. Quotation marks when the source is a part of a larger whole. So you put it in quotes. And no styling when describing a source without a title. Just good to know. You don't need to learn it. Container is the larger work that the source you're citing appears in. So it could be a chapter in as a part of a book, or a page from a website, or an article of a journal. If the source you're citing is self-contained, that is the whole book, leave out this element. The container title is always in italics. Pay attention to the punctuation. Now, you actually don't need to do any of this. The software will do it for you. This is just something that you need to know. Then you have the second one. We've done this, right? Container. Yeah. Then we come to other contributors, the fourth one. Now, if there are other people who have also contributed to this book, this is how you will write their names. They will always end with a comma, 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 and this full stop. And then there will be a colon. If there are three or more sources, it should have been Ed Norris, Pippa, Ed Norris et al. If there are more than three, there are three here. If there are more than three, then you follow it with an et al. If there are no relevant contributors, ignore this element. Then you come to the version, which edition of the book is it? Then you come to the number. Mostly comes in journal articles. It gives you volume number, issue number, all of that. And you just need, it's just separated by commas. Book citations, especially when you're taking it from a book, it will always include the publisher element. The publisher is the company responsible for producing and distributing the source. So it'll always be included somewhere. For these sources, you don't need to use a publisher. If you're using a website, if you're using a journal, if you're using newspapers and magazines, and platforms like EBSCO, JSTOR, etc. Then you have the publication date. If you know the month date, this is how it will appear. If it is, an event that you're quoting, then it also has to have the time. Sometimes you just have the year, sometimes you have all the details. If there are more than one publication dates, you use the one that you are using for your citation. When a source does not state a publication date, add the date on which you accessed the information. Here, date accessed 7 September 2020. Then you have location, book chapters. If it's a web page, you give the URL. If it is a journal article, you can share the DOI. So you see, I've taken this from EBSCO, and here's the DOI. If it's a physical object or live event, name the location and city. Yeah. So this brings us to the end of the 9 core elements. We will now take a break. Can anyone just tell me what is the Malaysia time? Let me just look at my watch. Malaysia time is 2:16, right? So I will see you at 2:30. I'm giving you a 14-minute break. Please be back in 14 minutes. Welcome back. Is everyone back? Can you hear me? Yes, perfect. Thank you so much. Welcome back to the session. Here we go. So we discussed why you need to cite, the importance of citation, and the different citation styles that are accepted by OUP, the four APA, MLA, Chicago, and AMA. So we've discussed MLA, which is currently in its 8th edition, and the 9 core elements that MLA looks at. Now, this was just generic information that I think you need to know. Let's move on to the next one. This is the American Psychological Association. Just as the name suggests, psychology. So it's mostly used in subjects like psychology and social sciences. Of course, there are many other disciplines that also use it. It is one of the most common formats for citing sources. Many universities use the APA format simply because of its easiness and non-complicated approach. And how does the APA citation style work? It uses an author date system of parenthetical citation. That means you need to give the name of the author and the date, not too much information. And the APA style consists of two parts. One is an in-text citation and the other is a reference list entry. Now, let me explain the difference to you, or let me just show you what is an in-text entry and what is a reference list entry. I'm going to show that to you from journals. So let me just choose medicine and health. Let me choose the European Heart Journal. Let me choose an old issue. In fact, I can choose any issue, it doesn't make a difference. And let's just take this. Now, if you look at this article, do you see in between the article, there are small hyperlinks. Now, this is 2. Where is 1? There's 1 here. So you see, it will proceed. This is called in-text citation. That means within the text, it has been entered. So see, this information within the text was taken from, this is the citation edit. It gives the names of the authors. It tells you the article, and it's taken from here. So you see how it is. This is called an in-text citation, where it is inserted within a text. Let's see if this book has any in-text citation. Usually books don't have here. You see inside, and it leads you here. It tells you where it's come from. Now, when you scroll down to the bottom of the article, you see all these references. These are what you call reference citations. Have you understood the difference between in-text citation and reference list entry? So the APA follows these two formats. You can do it as an in-text citation and you can also do it as a reference list entry. Now, what about in-text citation? An in-text citation, what does it do? It's just a quick way of telling the reader where the original idea came from. So you've written a sentence and you've inserted that in text there. So every time you are citing something from a different source, you are adding a citation within the text. And it only requires 4 elements. Who's the author of the content? When was it published? What is the title of the content? And the publication information. Very simple. This is how it looks like. Who, when, where it's come from, what, and where is it? It's available in Oxford University Press. That's simple. Now, again, these authors have certain rules. You will not actually need to remember these. This is just for you to know. If it's just one author, you only insert the last name. If there are 2 authors, you put in their last names separated by an ampersand or with the word and. If there are 3 to 5 authors, this is how it would come. All last names. And the last one will be separated with both a comma and an ampersand or the word and. If there are 6 or more authors, then you just put the name of the first author and write et al. And if in one citation there are multiple sources, then you will just separate them in one set of parentheses with a semicolon. So there are 3 citations here, 3 sources. Now, every source that is cited in the text, even though you have put it in the in-text citation, it must also appear in your reference list. If you look at book chapters also, if you normally read a storybook also, you will find that at the end there is, a reference list. The author gives credit to all the places from where he has taken or used information from. When you watch a movie, you will see that they give you the names of the stores, the brands that they are grateful for. So everything that you're cited must appear in the reference list. Yeah. And the name of the book should be in italics. If it is in a reference list, this is how it appears. You have the author, you have the year, you have the title, and you have the name of the journal. Now, if it's a journal, it will always have to have the name of the volume, issue number, and the page numbers. And the journal title is in italics. So basically, titles are in italics. Now, there are formatting rules for APA. Like, for example, they want Times Roman 12 point, double line spacing. Now, at the risk of sounding repetitive, you really don't need to remember all of this, because all of this is made easier by something called the citation manager. Trust me, if I had to mug up and remember, I would never even want to submit a project, because I would never be able to think of so many details. But There were times, I remember when my friend was sitting for an administrative exam, she would go to National Library, which is the largest library in Asia. And she would go to National Library to make notes. Every afternoon she would be there from 1 to 5. And she would say it's so and these are the days when there were no computers. We used to do everything in writing. And she would say it's so difficult because some people, because they don't want to write, they tear the pages from the book. So I belong to a generation of hard copies when the software wasn't there. So those days, imagine everyone would have to do this manually. And then it would be important for them to remember these things. But you are a lucky lot because you are in a technology based era. Then we move on to Chicago book citation. Chicago book citation is fairly simple. It uses a footnote or an endnote format. And footnote, endnote is the notes that come at the end of the research. That is the last page of your book or the last page of your article. So, how do they come? If in the footnote, endnote format, you will have the author, first name, last name. So, Amartya Sen, the name of the book, the publisher year, and page numbers. So how will it come? Albert Einstein, the title of the book, who was the publisher? Princeton, Princeton University Press, place of publication and publisher. So the place was Princeton, which year, and the page numbers. If you have subsequent mentions, maybe you have used this many times, the same Einstein, this particular, you have been referring to it consistently throughout your research. Then you will just write the name of the author, the name of the book, and the page number. If you're putting it in bibliography format, let me show you what a bibliography is. Just so that you know. This is just for you to know. You see, all this is bibliographic information. Let me just go to this book. Let's say I'm going to the last book. I'm going to the end matter. You see references here. In a book, the references usually come in the last page. See, this is how they appear. All the references that have been used while writing this book appear here. These are called endnotes or bibliographic formats. Again, very simple: author's last name, first name, year of the book, place of publication, publisher, year. So Einstein Albert, meaning of relativity, place was Princeton, Princeton University Press, 1923. Because in bibliography information, you are not giving the page numbers. It's just stopping here. In footnote, endnote format, you will need to mention this. So this is something that your lecturer will tell you. Your professors will tell you which one you should use. Then when you're doing in-text citation format, you remember I showed you how in-text citation is. You have the author's last name, year, page numbers. Then you have in-text citation example like Einstein, which year and which page numbers. If it is in the reference list format, this is how it comes. Last name, first name, year, name of the book, place of publication and publisher. So you see, in an in-text format, you can't keep it very long. Whereas in the reference list format, you have to put in all these details. In text will be very simple. Einstein, 1923, page 44, 45. For journal citation, this is how it is followed. See, it when it is the first mention, this I'm not repeating because it's similar to that, except that you need to add the DOI. But if you look at the full note here, for Chicago and any journal entry, if you're using a journal citation, it has to include the DOI number. Subsequent mentions, that means if you're continuously referring to Dixon and you need to keep on mentioning that, you will just mention the name of the author, the title of the book, and from which page number. This is an example. Last name, first name, then you have the journal article, the name of the journal, which volume, which issue, page numbers, the date you accessed it, and the DOI number. Then the last one is the AMA. AMA is mostly used in medical sciences and it uses a numeric system. So it gives you the name of the author, last name, and the first initials. So if it's Amartya Sen, it will be Sen, comma, A. The year of copyright, the title of the book, and the subtitle, the chapter. Where is it coming from? The publisher is Oxford University Press. It's coming from Oxford Cardiology Library. Which year was it accessed? And the URL. So in the AMA, you have to give the URL. Now you are totally confused. Now you must be saying, how will I remember those 9 formats of MLA, APA, Chicago? So confusing, so many things. Rubbish all this is. It is very difficult. You're going to spend 6 months doing your research. And in those 6 months, you will have read so much, you will have to continuously keep making notes. It is not possible for you to remember everything and keep it organized. Imagine the amount of hard work you need to do if you have to do it manually. But there is some good news. You can do all of this using the citation manager. The citation manager will do everything for you. What does the citation manager do? Every time you're researching and you are citing, it is collecting all the sources of information on your topic. And then what does it do? It will import that information from your sources to the citation manager. So you've collected, you've started citing 1, 2, 3, 4. And then what are you doing? You're clicking on export. You remember when we went here to the chapter, let's just go back a little bit. Let's just open any chapter here. When you're citing, you are downloading it in a particular format. So all of this is getting downloaded for you. After which you need to export it. Once you have downloaded it, all that citation that you have downloaded, you will export it. This is how the process works. So the citation manager will import it from your sources. And it will upload those PDF files and attach them to your source. It is also called a reference manager or a bibliographic manager. Now, you, when you're doing your research, you are actually building up your database. You're creating lists of articles, you're creating books, you're creating, uh, there are videos, reports, so many things that you need to include. This citation manager is specially designed for students, scholars, and writers. It takes you out of the restrictions. That means you don't need to remember all the rules. It will do it for you. It's programmed to do it for you. Now, when you're doing your research, you are actually continuously saving them in your notepad or a Word doc. What does it do? It will help you to store, search, and organize your research. Maybe you are doing now a research on um, unemployment due to the pandemic. And after 2 years, you will probably want to do the economic boom after the pandemic. And you're finding something that looks like it could be linked to your next research. What can you do? If you've saved it and titled it, it will automatically organize your research for you. So you can quickly go back to the citation manager and check that, I had done some research, I'd read an article. It will automatically read it for you. So how does it make your life easy? You have your own library to go back to. So when you're doing your research, you can quickly import it from there and export it here. When should you use a citation manager? When you want to organize your research and easily create a bibliography. When you're writing a research paper with more than 15 to 20 references. Up to 15 references, it's doable. It's not so painful. But if it's more than that, there's a lot of work, manual work that goes in. When you want to keep your research in a subject area well organized and easily accessible. Archived or ongoing. Like I will go back, archive is when I can go back to my old research to link it to my current research. And obviously, you have all your research in one place, so you don't have to go looking around it. It's not like it's written somewhere and you're looking for a particular file. It's all there in one particular place. And you can easily export citations from many of the library databases. There are many options for citation management software. We have Cite, we have RefWorks, we have Reference Manager, we have Zotero, we have EndNote, we have Mendeley. Now, again, going back to our citation platform, you see we have only 3 here and a .ris, which means we have 4. Now you're going to say, my university has Zotero. We don't have any of these. What do we do? Then this is useless, I can't cite? Wrong. The best part is, these are the ones that we support: Cite, RefWorks, Reference Manager. However, if your university uses a Zotero or a Mendeley, which is not supported by Oxford University Press, then you will use an RIS file extension. That is .ris. What does .ris do? It will automatically pick up the information and read the format that your library citation manager supports. It will put it in a format that can be read by Mendeley, EndNote, and Zotero. Is this clear? So you've seen how easy your work is. All this information that I gave you was just good to know. It was not need to know. This is need to know. The citation manager is something that you need to know. So if your university subscribes to a fourth one, which is not listed here, like ProCite, RefWorks, and Reference Manager, then all you will need to do is click on .ris and you will still get the details of the book in your format. What does the .ris do? It retains all information in your references without rearranging the various reference elements. It makes it easier for you to integrate your references with your favorite reference manager via the RIS export. If you need more information on Citation Manager, supported by your institution, which one works, which one doesn't, you will need to reach out to your library. Any questions, please ask. Here's my email address. You can always write to me as well if there are any doubts. Any questions? If there are any questions, please ask. Which is the best citation manager to use? That you have to check with your professors. I cannot give you that. That will come from your university. Yes, .ris will read all citation types. BibTeX is a reference manager, yes. You cannot, Amara, we don't give you the PPT, but you will get a recording of the session, so you will be able to see all the slides. See how you can access your citation manager. I said your librarian will tell you. And no, we can't recommend anything. It all depends on what your library uses. Yes, I think you can. You just need to give reference from where you've taken that work. This answer is for Faradia Uari. Any more questions? Which one is best or worst? I cannot tell you. Your certificate will come to you automatically after the session, I think within 24 hours. And you will receive your certificates of completion after you've completed the assessment. And if provided you've scored the relevant marks. How to retrieve information from the citation manager? That your librarian will tell you which one and how it is done. That you have to check with your professors. The test, you will receive a link. Yes, the session recording will be available to you. Thank you so much for being a wonderful audience. All of you, stay healthy, stay safe. And if you have any questions, please write to me at my email address. I will answer all your questions over the email. Thank you.